Welcome to Self-Care for Men. I am here in East Greenwich, Rhode Island at Matrix Personalized Fitness with the owner and founder, Shane Sauer, who is a personal trainer with a very unique background and approach to his work here. He incorporates neurology, the brain, also Eastern philosophy, and also biomechanics. So I'm really looking forward to finding out more about how he integrates those different approaches into his work. So thank you for allowing me to be here, Shane, in your space in East Greenwich. Let's start with, what is your philosophy, your training philosophy? I talked about the different background and different approaches. How do you incorporate and integrate those things?
So my training philosophy really is about getting people healthy enough to do the things that they want to do. So I'm able to incorporate so many different things with my background that I can really take people to the different places they might want to go. But the main place for most people is making sure that you've properly recovered from any previous injuries that you've had, because those are going to be a limitation on anything you want to do if you haven't.
Right.
And then secondly is making sure that you have the body control, the motor control, to make sure that you're not going to get hurt when you're doing whatever new activities you want to do. So injury prevention is huge, because for a lot of people, that becomes their very first setback.
Right.
You get into a program, you feel good for a couple weeks, all excited about yourself, and then some nagging injury pops up and you have to all of a sudden start from scratch, or you get so discouraged that you don't start over again anyways.
You have a injury prevention assessment that you do? What does that incorporate?
So with the work that I do in here, because it is from a brain-based perspective, and really what that means is I've gotten a background in applied neuroanatomy. So I know the anatomy of the brain, the nervous system, and how different movements or different drills and activities affects different parts of the brain. And then those have effects on your movement skills.
Gotcha.
So the injury prevention screen not only checks on basic things like posture, gait, your skills in basic functional movements like squats, pushes, pulls, all those types of things. But it also tailors some work with your vision system, so how your eyes are working, your vestibular system, which is your inner ear, your balance system. And then from the other basic movement analyses, that also gives me a lot of input as to what's going on within your brain itself. And then once I have that information combined with an injury history that we've gone through, there are very specific patterns within the anatomy of your body and your brain that you can then start to use to help people recover from the injuries that they've had, in maybe ways they haven't tried before. And then it also helps you start to create the proper motor patterns and the muscle balance patterns, so that when they start doing movements, they can do them more efficiently and not get hurt.
Is there a specific age group or a population that you specialize in working with?
Again, it's one of those things, having such a varied background, I can work with just about anyone. I mean, I've had some kids come in for vision training before, I've had some athletes come in, but really where I try to tailor things is kind of that middle-aged to elderly population who have, maybe they used to be an athlete and they got into the whole family and work thing, and now they're like, oh, I really wish I could go back and do the stuff I used to do, and as soon as they try, they get hurt. So I really like to work with those people and bring them in, get them excited about doing whatever it is, the things that they love to do, make sure that they're in a place where the body can handle it, and if not, build up to that place. And then if they're trying to learn something new, even teach them the different skills they might need for that new activity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was perusing your website, and I noticed something about in your philosophy about having fun and bringing joy to what you do here and what you teach. How do you do that?
It's really just kind of what I just said. So I even though I have to use it because it's what the term that people are used to, I hate calling it a workout. Like your physical activity should be something that you love and enjoy. So it shouldn't be like, oh, I have to go to the gym and lift weights today. Like if that's what you're choosing to do, you should be doing it because you want to be stronger for other things that you want to do. So it's really trying to find whatever those activities are, whether it's gardening, hiking, doing yoga, playing sports, it doesn't matter, but tapping into that and then creating some relevance around it for the activities that you're doing in here, so that you want to do these things because you want to be better at the activities that you love.
So it's improving people's quality of life.
100%, yeah. Just if you can do the things that you enjoy and you don't feel limited in those, you're going to be that much happier of a person. And then when you're happier, your relationships are better. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just the whole holistic approach.
Absolutely, it influences all aspects of your
Exactly.
life. How do you incorporate the Eastern philosophy into what you do?
So it's kind of that holistic approach.
Okay, gotcha.
So what I found really interesting about learning the neuroanatomy and having this Eastern yoga experience, being a 500-hour yoga teacher, is they blend really nicely together. So even though they might not have had the fMRI studies that say exactly how things work, those ancient principles, they knew exactly what they were doing. So big parts of making sure that your body works appropriately is breathing. So there's a lot of breathing work that goes on. Make sure you're efficient at it, that you can breathe into different areas, that you can breathe quick or breathe slow, breathe high, breathe low. So that goes back to the Eastern pieces. And then again, the mobility aspects. So yoga is very helpful with that. And then understanding both from that Eastern yoga perspective of the body as a whole unit. Neurology tells us the same thing. Like you could be having issues with your shoulder because you have a bad ankle. So understanding that from both sides gives you that ability to come in and play with things where maybe if you're going to somebody who didn't think that way, they're working on your shoulder, it never gets better because that's not where the problem is.
It's interesting that you say that, because yesterday I was speaking with a massage therapist who works with professional athletes, and she was mentioning that someone might come in with a left shoulder challenge, but it's the right hip. That's where she needs to work. And sometimes people, as a physical therapist, I know that sometimes people will come in with a left shoulder challenge, and I'm working on the right hip, and they're confused. Why are you working over there if it's here? So the body is so miraculous, and it's so interconnected, that you have to look at the body like you do holistically. I also saw that you did some work with soldiers. What did you do with soldiers?
So that's my background in biomechanics, which is the physics of the human body. So I was an engineer for a little bit, and then but I've always loved sports, so I made this transition into how can I work on the human body and still have like the physics of engineering involved. Biomechanics was the piece for that, so I went back to school for it. And then while I was working there, I got an internship at a research lab up in Natick called US Arum, where they study movement in soldiers to try and keep them safe. So I got to do that for 6 years, and we would be studying, how their gait cycles, which is their walking cycles, change when you're giving them different packs of different weight, different distributions of the weight within the packs. So we would do studies like that, so we could then give this information to the units, and they would maybe change the equipment that they're using, or change how they pack their equipment, or not load the soldiers up so much. So if they know this is really going to take a toll on their joints, and if they carry this X amount of weight, when they get to their location, they're going to not be able to fight. So it becomes those important balances for the commanders to decide what they want to do, and we provide that information. And we also did some really cool stuff around the women moving into the frontline combat roles. So we actually worked on creating the standards that were universal. So before you had standards that the men could hit, that might have been above and beyond what you actually need to be in that role. So now we've created the standards that are a level playing field for everybody, so anybody can do any job as long as they qualify physically.
Gotcha. Is there anything else you want to add before we close today?
No, just I'd have to say it's super important when you're currently active, or more importantly getting back to activity, to make sure that you're taking into account that You need to start and ramp up slowly.
Absolutely.
And really care for not just the activity that you're doing, but don't forget about how important recovery is.
Right.
Nobody really talks or thinks about that, but if you're getting poor sleep, if you're not taking the time to relax, if you're not giving yourself the proper nutrition to be able to recover from the new loads that you're taking on, the new stresses that you're taking on, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And exercise is a stress. Have to remember that.
Yes.
You're adding that to all the other stresses in your life.
Exactly.
And it's about, not throwing too much over the top so that you break down on the back end.
Right, that's awesome, awesome. If someone wanted to reach out to you, ask questions, or learn more about your business, how could they do so?
So if you wanted to learn more about the business, I have a website with a ton of information on there, different videos, talking about the different things I do. And that website is Matrix, M-A-T-R-I-X, a hyphen, so that's not the low underscore, that's the middle hyphen like a minus sign, PF for personalizedfitness.com. So matrix-pf.com. And then if you have more specific questions, I'm happy to talk to anybody that's interested. So you could email me at Shane, my name, S-H-A-N-E, at that same matrix-pf.com. Also, the phone number that's on the website is the business line. You can call me up, text message, and I will respond for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel with the link, the tab below. Also like and follow my Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn pages. And do you have social media also?
I've got all of that stuff too. So there's a YouTube channel that has the videos that you'll see on the website. There's Facebook page, Instagram page, and then my LinkedIn is my personal account, not the business. Well, actually, there's a business page too. So it's all out there, whatever media you choose to use.
Awesome. And feel free to leave comments too on all those social media platforms. Again, thank you, Shane, for inviting me into your space here.
Yeah, thank you for thinking of me.
I appreciate the work that you do. And remember, now is the time to improve your health and well-being and transform your life. Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you soon.